The David situation is honestly one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Hello you gorgeous donuts. On the 8th of September, an abandoned Tesla was impounded in the Hollywood Hills. And shockingly, what they found in the boot of this Tesla was the remains from a human. And days later, that body was actually identified as being a 15-year-old girl called Celeste Hernandez. This was a missing teenager who vanished over a year ago. Now this story has taken over the internet, and this could arguably be because that car was registered to one of the most famous up-and-coming artists in the world right now, David. Now you're probably wondering, how did this girl end up in this Tesla? Why was the car abandoned? Like, how can such a horrific situation like this happen? What has happened to the music artist David? Has he responded to any of this? Well, we are going to cover the entire situation as of recording this video to this day, because I've never seen a story blow up so quick with so many theories, so many people trying to figure out what's going on. There's an entire army of people on the internet that are becoming mini detectives trying to work out all of the pieces of this and put it together. And the worst part about it is new stuff keeps getting discovered every single day. Now in this video, I do want to try and stick to the facts as much as possible. Later in this video, we are going to discuss some of the theories that people have, but I am going to make it clear that those are just theories at this point. We're going to cover the latest in the actual investigation too, and I do need to make it clear everything I say in this video is alleged. Nobody has been charged for what has happened here, so I just need to make this clear. But trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the end of this video, because the facts to this situation get darker as we go on. Now, just to get started, I feel like I need to describe who David is, because honestly, I'd never heard of this guy before this situation was announced. I knew his songs off TikTok, but I didn't actually know he was the artist behind them. You've probably heard his most famous song, Romantic Homicide, which later in this video, we're going to discuss how that could possibly have a sinister meaning behind it. Well, David's real name is actually David Anthony Burr. He was originally born in New York, but he moved to Houston, Texas. Now, he first gained a little bit of fame from doing gaming content and kind of TikToks. Like, he was more of a social media personality before he later went on to start his music career. TikTok definitely helped his, like, ascension to fame. Like, obviously, like, loads of music artists have blown up over there over the last few years, with the song I mentioned earlier, Romantic Homicide, and also another song called Here With Me, which really took him to new levels of fame and really started his music career. Now, when this situation became such a huge thing, I did go to have a look at videos of this guy just to get a kind of gauge of what his personality was like, or at least his on-screen personality. One of those was a Genius video where he was breaking down one of his viral songs, and the way he speaks, like, I know this is how every single Netflix documentary starts when someone isn't the nicest person and commits a horrific crime, allegedly, but he seemed kind of normal. Like, you wouldn't suspect just from the way that he was speaking that he would be capable of what he's getting accused of. But then again, how would you kind of deduct that somebody would be able to commit such a horrific crime? Now, due to him rising in fame, he got loads of brand deals. Like, Hollister launched an entire line with him. He also did a brand deal with Crocs. Like, these are huge companies that are wanting to work with this person. And riding that momentum wave, in 2025, he actually announced his tour, which again, later on becomes a lot more sinister when you see certain things that went on this tour. But I must stress, at this point, people didn't really suspect that he was really a bad person, I don't think, to my knowledge. Like, people, he was very beloved at this moment. However, when more and more people were learning about David and adoring his personality, in the background, a lot of darker things were occurring. And this is all centered around Celeste, who I mentioned earlier, unfortunately passed away, which again, like, I want to be as sensitive with this as possible, because, you know, there's a family that has lost someone here. It's a very real situation. Like, these are real people involved in this. I know that's, like, obvious, but sometimes people forget that. Now, she was last seen in April 2024. She was last seen in California. She was just 13 at the time. She was reported missing, but nobody had, like, spotted her. Like, there was no confirmed sightings of her, and she was missing for a little over a year. Her family would do a lot of, like, pleas on social media and just, like, around the town, just kind of, you know, stressing, like, if anybody sees, you know, Celeste, can you please let us know? She was also listed on the missing persons database, and like like I said, she was missing for a year until one day the family got the horrific news in the worst way possible that she was actually discovered in this Tesla. Now, you're probably wondering how this discovery came about. Well, I've got the kind of transcript of how it all happened, so I'm just going to read it out. Like I said, September the 8th, a Tesla was towed from Bird Street, Hollywood Hills. The tow yard workers apparently smelt a really foul odour. Inside the frunk, which is the front boot, I believe, was obviously human remains, and they'd apparently been there for quite a while. Like, you could see that straight off. Like, this wasn't just something that happened yesterday. And like I said, shortly after, I believe it was the 17th of September, it was identified to be Celeste, unfortunately. You know, this is horrific to hear about anyone, but especially, you know, someone that was, you know, 13, 14, 15 at the time of this happening. Now, the cause of death at the time of filming has been deferred. Like, they're waiting to run more tests. I imagine they might know, but it just hasn't been released publicly. There has been loads of rumours circulating about, which we are going to get into. But again, I want to be very mindful that this is an actual person who has lost their life, and I just want to be as sensitive as possible. Now, obviously, the first step the police are going to take in an investigation into how this all happened is running a test to see who this car belongs to. And this car was actually registered in the name of David, and that's very critical. Like, the police didn't say it's owned by David, it was registered to David. Whether that makes a difference, I'll let you be the judge of that. Now, I don't know how this information got out to the internet, but it got out fairly quickly, and obviously this just sent the entire internet into an absolute spiral and a meltdown. Like, this is the worst possible thing that can happen for the police during an investigation. A lot of things did come out about, you know, the discovery as well when the information was made public. For instance, Celeste had a tattoo on, I believe it was her index finger, which says shush. Another person that has that exact same tattoo is David, so people started piecing, you know, 1 and 2 together. But I do want to make it clear, like, a lot of other celebrities do have this tattoo, such as like Rihanna. Like, she very famously has that tattoo and probably made it famous. I think Lindsay Lohan has it as well, and apparently I'm reading here Lily Allen. So I'm just saying, like, it's not just for them two, but it is a bit of a weird coincidence that they both have it. Now, because of the gravity of, like, how this situation has unfolded, and with all of the social media kind of presence around it, it fastly became the LAPD's robbery homicide division's, like, #1 case to solve. And pretty much straight away after this, the authorities got a warrant to search the house that David had been living in. Apparently this house wasn't owned by David. I don't know if it was being rented by his manager. It was something to do with his manager was renting it and David was living there, but it was his residence. Now, there was various videos and pictures of the authorities basically taking things from David's house. You can see here they've got like an iMac here, which I imagine is his main computer. They also took like various other items. You could see them all in like the plastic bags. They didn't go away empty-handed is what I'm basically saying. I'm just reading the comments of this post that has been made on Facebook, by the way. I think it's wild how people kind of just joke about this situation as if it's not real. Like, it's wild. Like, it's almost, I say this in loads of videos, but it's like what Black Mirror was trying to tell were, like, people just don't have empathy for, like, the victim's family or the victim here. Like, they just make a joke out of it. You would think the Tesla would know who murdered her. It's like, mate, what are you doing? Gary Rosamini, what are you doing? Now, a lot of people were saying that this wasn't actually David's home, but people found the videos that he did with Benny Blanco, and they also found like various other videos, and they found that this actually was the place that he was staying. You can see here in this video, this is the kitchen of it, and you can see them both here, just, you know, is this like a Twitch live or something? Another thing that was really interesting that a news outlet picked up on is when they conducted interviews with the neighbours said that this Tesla had actually been parked there for like quite a while. Like, they'd noticed it. So obviously, like, it hadn't moved for a little bit of time in front of his home. Also, he is currently on tour at the minute, which we're going to get into. Another thing we're going to get into, which is just very intriguing how this is all unfolded at the moment. But after this was announced, David actually cancelled the rest of his shows that he had lined up. Just in the short term, I believe at this point, like, it was just the show he had on that night and then the next few after. Now, it is important to note, like, as of recording at this exact moment, like, he hasn't been charged for this, but the cards are stacking against him. I'm not saying, like, not even against him. Like, the amount of evidence that is coming out here is scary. It's honestly scary. It's like, if they wrote this into a TV show or a movie, you would be like, okay, well, you know, this just doesn't seem likely. It's almost like too perfect the way everything's adding up. Now, I do want to get into a lot of the rumours that has been circulating around this entire situation. Like, so much information and also misinformation is going around about this situation. How many times can I say situation in one sentence? I think that was about 5. Right, pat on the back. There we go. Now, one of the first alarming things that people discovered once this news had kind of went viral was David's reposts on TikTok. Now, we're going to take a look at some of them. Without the context of this situation, you would still be like, they're a little bit weird. But with the context of this situation, it makes them look so sinister. Me watching her scream after I poured boiling water on her after she told a boy, happy birthday, because why you happy he made it another year? Okay. Imagine being like, you know, the father-in-law seeing, you know, your son-in-law's reposting this. You'd be like, don't really know if I want my daughter to be seeing this person hiding all the kettles in his house. Then there's some about being controlling, like just very intense. Me, because even the slightest things make me jealous. Forgive yourself for all the mistakes you did in the past. Like, bearing in mind, this is my first impression of this person. He seems very intense. Like, very intense, and I feel like he's trying to build a really strong parasocial relationship with his audience, but it's kind of really dark and deep. If you don't go all the way with me through thick and thin, you don't deserve me. If your first concern is to look after yourself, you'll never find yourself. But if you forget about yourself and look to me, you'll find both yourself and me. It's like what? Like this is something like a 14-year-old would repost on their Snapchat story. Not like a 20-plus-year-old. Me, after hearing about her past with other boys, I'm jealous and utterly disgusted by her actions. I feel like we all know the movie that this scene is from. Imagine we were two cannibals in the late 80s who randomly met and then we fell in love and tried to be better and start a life together. Then you died and I ate your bones and all. Yep. Again, just something completely normal to repost that you just do as soon as you wake up. You're like, yeah, definitely that relates to me, being a cannibal. Now again, none of this kind of confirms that, you know, he is the person that did it. But when you're trying to build a character profile of who someone is, it doesn't help. Is what I'm trying to say. Some more alarming ones, in my opinion, is like this one. Does anyone have any tips on how to not be the literal worst person in the world? Again, when you've got that situation going on and you see something like this, you can't blame people for trying to, you know, figure out the wires here and see how this kind of thing connects. But I do remember, like, back in the day, I used to listen to, like, a lot of artists such as, like, SoundCloud rappers like Little Skies and Little Xan, Little P. All these people would often be very kind of, you know, dark and stuff like this. But I don't feel like most of them was on the level of this. But again, my mind is kind of tainted because I know about the situation. It's kind of hard to compare. The more I scroll through these, the more I'm just really like, oh my god, what are we actually witnessing here, like live in front of us? Another thing people have been going back to is his songs, and like I mentioned in the intro of this video, his most famous song, Romantic Homicide. People have said there's various cues he left behind telling people about, you know, that he allegedly possibly could have done something like this. If you look at verse 3 in that song, the lyrics are, in the back of my mind, I killed you and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you. Again, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we saying things like this? When something like, you know, unfortunately, the body of Celeste has been announced outside of your home in a car that is registered to you, and people see lyrics like this, you can't blame them for putting two and two together. What's the phrase? I'm losing my mind here. You know what I'm saying though. Now, I've heard this song on TikTok and I didn't actually know it was, you know, by David until I heard about this situation. So I went and looked at the music video just to kind of catch the vibe of it, really. And again, it is very dark and deep and like, a lot of people would say horrified, like, you know. I know a lot of people are kind of desensitized to this kind of, you know, music video now because it's like, it's been seen as kind of a trend over the past few years. Like, a lot of high profile music artists have went down this route. But like, there's a girl in it who has, you know, what appears to be blood on her, you know, it's hard to see, in a wedding dress. Obviously, I don't know if he is, you know, saying that he wants to marry this person. Like, there's definitely a hidden meaning behind this. And obviously you can see, you know, she's on the bed, blood, clearly has been hurt. He's standing over her. It's like, are these clues? Like, because when I heard people saying, oh, he left clues, I was like, well, this is just, are people just kind of reaching here? Honestly, I don't think it's a reach. Like everything in this video, like I said, is alleged. But I can look at this and with the situation and the evidence and be like, yeah, maybe, you know? Obviously, you can see there's weapons here that are in his possession. And again, it's a music video, and, you know, loads of people do wild things in music videos, like some of Doja Cat's music videos where she dresses up as the devil. I don't think she actually is the devil in, you know, her home life. Hopefully. I don't really know her personally. But the more we kind of reveal about this situation, the more it's harder to kind of put it down to a coincidence. And like I mentioned previously in this video, there was a Genius interview that he did where he basically broke down the lyrics of this song. And just the way, like, looking at him explain it, it's like, now you know about this situation, it's almost like he's trying too hard to kind of explain that he didn't actually murder someone. By the way, like, I'm not laughing because I think it's funny, I'm laughing because I'm genuinely just baffled that this is like a real thing.
So what inspired the hook, "In the back of my mind you died," is kind of like the storytelling aspect of the lyrics that came before it, in a way that it builds up to the big moment where she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died. And I didn't even cry, not a single tear.
It's like we didn't expect that you killed her physically. I mean, now we don't know what to think, but I know I've already said this and I don't need to keep saying it, but I want to be mindful of, you know, there's a family that have lost someone here, and I think it must be very difficult for this family to, you know, obviously they'll be online to read all of these theories, especially when you see people joking in the comments and stuff, you know, various media outlets on social media. It must be very tough for them, and no one really thinks of, like, the victim and the victim's family. Often, you know, the main focus, especially if it's a high profile person, is going to be on that person, but I just want to make sure that I'm giving, you know, the victim enough, you know, remembrance here, especially with her being a child, and it's just awful. Various people have unearthed, like, live show appearances where he has performed this song and have questioned the way that he sang it. But I know they did pass a law, I believe it was in the UK and America, where people can't get done for what they say in, like, songs. Like, you know, like, I know with a lot of drill songs, people, you know, say the wilder stuff, and, you know, they'd be locked up if that was a confirmation in court. There's also been a lot of rumours that apparently Celeste was pregnant at the time. My information, as of recording this video, is that is untrue. I've looked on so many sources, and I can't see a valid source that is true. That is of recording, though. It might come out later on that actually is true, but as of recording, I don't believe that to be true. That would be even more horrific. Obviously, I don't even know how it can get more horrific than what it is already. Another shocking development is a lot of media outlets have posted this like apparent song that David made. I don't know if this is officially released because a lot of people are questioning the validity of it, but if we just look at the lyrics, now if you look at the third verse, you can see that, you know, it's got Celeste by name in there. Again, this is an alleged song. I can't, like, validate that this was actually written by him. That's why I'm including it in the rumors section, but there is audio of this, but it'll probably, you know, get this video taken down. Again, when you read the lyrics, there's, you know, not much that would kind of point to him doing something like this. A lot of people have also said he possibly was dating another Celeste. Again, another coincidence, like, you know, Celeste, is that a common name? I don't really know in America, but there is a Celeste named in this alleged song that he was you know, he released. There is also loads of messages in Discord, but honestly, like, I went into the whole rabbit hole of that, and there is so many messages, and it's so hard to, like, you know, check the validity of Discord messages. So if you do want to do, you know, extra research, or you are interested, I'll let you do that in your own time, but I just wanted to make you aware that those are things, because I know if I uploaded this video, people would be like, what about the Discord messages? And I'd be like, yeah, like, I'm mentioning it, okay, but again, it's just, there's so much with this, like, it's hard to include absolutely, you know, every intricate detail, but I do want to make you aware of them. Now, I did see on one source that this is confirmed to be true. Now, again, I am just going off that source, so I'm saying it's allegedly true. But this source confirmed it, and it's David listening to a voicemail that apparently is from a Celeste, and it's part of a song. Now, even, you know, it's hard to make out what she's saying there, but you can see she's crying. Like, just imagine getting a voicemail from someone and then being like, yeah, this is just how I'm, starting the song for them just crying. Yeah, I'm just going to use this. Like, is there any empathy here? Person is very hurt, you know, I'm just going to make money off this. Again, people have deducted what it says in the comments. If this is true, shocking. I can't really make it out, I'm afraid. Now, one thing I did discover, which I found absolutely mental, is a school teacher who used to teach Celeste talking about the situation and talking about Celeste to his class. Like, this is honestly, like, unbelievable that this footage has made the internet.
That's her in my classroom in front of this poster right here. Okay, hold up. I got another one because I got a picture on TMZ of this other kid exchanging stuff with the rapper who we alleged did this stuff. Hold on a second, because he's also in my classroom.
Wait, how long?
Also, like, the way that this guy is talking, it's almost like he's bragging. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not... The way he's conveying this is almost like, look what I've got. Like, I've got something no one else... Like, you know, it's weird the way he's kind of displaying this information, especially... Is it really appropriate to say this to school kids in a class? Should you not say this to the police? You know, like, obviously he didn't know he was being recorded here, so he probably thought this was a safe space to say this. But I feel like, you know, this information might never have reached the surface unless this video was taken and uploaded.
We all just found out yesterday who it was, but she's been missing since I taught her. So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year, May of 2024. That's when her friends told me what happened, that it was this rapper, that they were like blackmailing him, all of this stuff. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces. You want to know how they met? I feel like I just said it. Social media.
Now, apparently this was part of a class that was meant to teach about safeguarding online, and he used this story as an example of how, you know, being online can, you know, lead to death. But yeah, someone in the comments is saying, why is bro just giving a show and tell? Exactly, like, it's almost like he's brought in something shiny for the shiny show. Like, he's just showing it off. I really feel like the police should have been given this information before it was displayed. Maybe they have been, but I don't know. It just gave off a weird vibe when I seen that, and it was so shocking because, again, this is a real situation. This is not, you know, some sort of TV show. These are real people involved in a real crime, and there's a real victim. And speaking of that, like, some people come online with the wildest theories, and, you know, even if they are true, to say it with baseless real evidence, like, you've just kind of deducted this from what you've seen, and then you just display that to, you know, your audience as kind of fact, is very, very strange.
They sold her. They sold that little girl. I don't care what nobody say. Understand that they sold her. They knew it. That's why, literally, they put it out as, oh, she went missing. No, she didn't, sweetheart. No, she did not. Her teacher even knew. So make that make sense. How did her parents not know?
Like, when I see someone talk like this, I know from their point of view, they probably think they're helping, or they think that they're, you know, saying what nobody else is saying. But if one of this girl's parents, the victim, you know, Celeste's parents, sees this, can you imagine how that would make them feel? Could you imagine for a second? In my opinion, the person that is to blame the most here is the person that committed this crime. You know, like, not the, you know, theorizing about who else could be. It's the person that committed the crime we should be focusing on. And to just come out with something like this, it kind of makes me feel a little bit like, ah. But then again, people are saying, and again, allegedly, people in the comments are saying, allegedly he was paying the mom. Her parents are going to jail also just for knowing and not saying anything. I don't know where these people are getting this information from. I've searched, and as of recording, I can't find anything that confirms this. I don't know if it's people just trying to, you know, create more drama around it. Honestly, I don't know. Now, another thing that I do find extremely wild about this, and another thing was just a weird coincidence, is with David's tour, the entire theme of it was like a funeral theme. It was like about the death and sending a message to the death. Like, I'm going to show you some videos from it. Like, why are you just having a coffin at your show? You know, like, even if their situation wasn't, you know, going on, I still would think it's weird that the main piece on stage is a coffin. I do think it's just a bit, like, intense. But with everything else going on, again, how many coincidences are here? Obviously, like, it's set up as, like, a memorial. Like, people are coming dressed in shirts with blood on. Fucking hell. Well, you can see on stage here, obviously, he's got like the why does that person keep coming up? He's got obviously the coffin behind him with the whole mural and everything, the dedication to the death. And there was also a video that somebody took where basically there's like a book before you go to your seat where you can basically write a message in it, which is like a message to like the death, like a message to, I don't know, anybody that is the deceased, basically. So it's all very centered around, you know, the deceased and somebody dying, which again, paired with the situation that we know about now. Do you see what I mean, though, when I mentioned earlier that it's just strange how all of these things connect so perfectly? Obviously, if you're thinking about it logically, you're probably leaning towards, you know, thinking that possibly all of the rumors are true, that this person actually, allegedly, possibly could have been capable of something like this. But your empathy and your heart and your everything else, your body is like, no, surely somebody wouldn't do this, especially to a child. But again, he's even in a lot of trouble, you know, online because, you know, even the fact he was in contact with this person when they were 13 and he was like 20 plus, like, again, that is just weird in itself. Never mind, you know, the rumors about the murder. Such a deep situation, honestly. I hope that I'm handling it is okay. It's one of the most difficult topics that I've kind of had to do, obviously, because there's so much emotion in it. I'm trying to convey it the best I can, but I do find it interesting. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the latest fallout? Like, what is the current up-to-date reaction and update to this? Well, as of recording this video, his entire US tour has been cancelled, not just the couple of dates after it. International tour dates have also been cancelled. I believe he was actually meant to perform in London. The Independent has reported this. Additional tour dates as investigation into teen's body found in his vehicle intensifies, so he's cancelled them all. Obviously, like, I can't imagine many people would be turning up to them now, and if they were, I feel like they would need, you know, to be checked out a bit. There's an artist called Kali Uchis, or Ukis, I believe. Sorry for the pronunciation there. I even said that name wrong. But she recently collabed with David, and she's actually taking her song off Spotify with him. Like, that's basically, you know, we know what she thinks about it, and this was someone that, you know, maybe knew him on a personal level. I also saw the streamer Jason the Ween originally was on a stream with Ludwig and was defending David, saying, you know, he wouldn't do this because he also has a song with him and he spent like time with them at a dinner or something like that. But he's actually later came out with a video saying, look, like, I'm pulling back, like, I don't support him, and, you know, many people, including him, unfollowed David off social media. Again, all these things are kind of building up, suggesting that, you know, this is all roads are leading to him, allegedly. Now, like I said, as of recording, no charges have been actually, you know, David hasn't been charged for any of this, but just the public speculation about it, like, this is, you know, I think the public has made their mind up anyway about this person. Never mind if he was the person who committed this awful thing against, you know, Celeste, but just the fact he was in contact with that and everything. Like, you're building a profile of this person that he wasn't really a nice guy, or isn't a nice guy. But there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered, and I'm sure, you know, by the time I upload this video, some of these might have even been answered, hopefully, such as the cause of death. There is a pending toxicology that is, you know, going to get announced, but I imagine a lot of the answers have been found out. They just haven't been released to the public because too much information has been released to the public straight away with this, in my opinion. They also need to work out, like, unfortunately, when was Celeste, you know, placed in this car as well. This hasn't been announced yet. A lot of people have theorized it was before the tour began, if, you know, allegedly it was David. But people are questioning, like, who had access to this Tesla, you know, could possibly, you know, David be in the clear, and actually it's been planted in some way. People have kind of said this. People are also wondering, like, why was the car abandoned, which is a pretty big question. Like, yeah, why? But yeah, I am gonna keep up to date with this case just because I am interested, and I find it, you know, I just want to understand, like, how this situation can occur. But I do want to end this video again, just you know, paying respects to Celeste, because it's just such a horrific thing, especially at her age, that, you know, she's no longer, you know, on this planet with us. It's just like a really, really nasty thing, especially for the parents and everything. And, you know, I just really want to, you know, pay respects to her, because at the end of the day, she should be getting as much coverage for her legacy as everything else going on. So thank you very much, Donuts, for watching this video. Hopefully I, you know, give this situation the respect it deserves. But yeah, thank you for watching again. I know it's a little bit of a different video, but I like to make videos that are, you know, I'm interested in, which I always do. So anyway, I'm rambling now. If you want to watch another video from me, click this video right here. I'll do one that's more serious if you like the more serious ones, or if you need a bit of a chill, click this one. Thanks again, Donuts. I'll see you in the next one.
Kirkham, baby.